Okay. Oh my. We'll see who's there. And we'll see if this lets me in. Hello. Ah, come on. Anybody home yet? Ah, come on. Oh, wait, turn sound off on that. Yeah, that's in live chat. Don't think anybody's here yet. I'm running late. Yes, I know. I sound like a goose. Hi, Peddling Profits. You're a name I haven't seen before. Been one of those nights. I'm not usually like right at 11. Usually I'm a few minutes early, but not tonight. Do you have a channel too, Peddling Profits? Or are you just a reseller on other platforms? Oh, there's Donna. Hi, Donna. And Rebecca. Hello, Diana. Oh, I gotta get the notice out of the way. I'm trying to clean my glasses. That's better. I can see. Hi, boys and girls. Tonight was interesting. Can you all say the word cluster? Mommy and Daddy have another word that goes with it, but we're not going to use that word, boys and girls. Oh, my. We have Peddling Profits who's new and has a channel. So let's see if I can find your channel, because I will promote other channels. I forgot to put my keyboard down. Peddling Profits. There we go. Oh, you are so out of my league. Look at all those 2,000. All right. Let me copy this. And I'm putting in the link. Uh-oh. That's the wrong account. There we go. I think now I'm in the right account. All right. Peddling Profits link. Let's try this again. It's been one of those nights. At work, we had 2 of us on the sales floor that have experience and have been there for a couple of years. Everybody else on the sales floor has been there a month or less. And it was busy tonight. It was a challenge. Yep, Little Vintage, you can share. And Serendipity, is that your channel that you shared? There's quite a few of us that have channels, and I don't mind sharing links for channels. I don't mind in the chat if you have a live sale coming up or a chat or a live event, a chat, whatever. I don't mind you advertising it during my lives. I have no problem with that. Oh, it was crazy tonight because they just I mean, the one I had with me at the register, she's been there 2 weeks. And there's a lot of cigarettes at a Wawa to learn. Yeah, we're all in the same reselling league. So, Peddling Profits, you're new. You probably haven't seen my very first video. Welcome to Warehouse 13. Yes, Jess is a reference to an old sci-fi show. I inherited 3 estates worth of stuff in short order, including the house, which was pretty full to begin with, from my mother, and the stuff from her mother. And then with her came 3 storage units. And then since then, I've inherited more from 2 other places. And, you know, like my sister once said, well, give it back to them. How do you give it back to dead people? I haven't figured that one out. As soon as she figures it out, she can tell me. But when I got downsized out of a job, I had gotten down to just 1 storage unit. It had to go somewhere. When Mom passed away, everybody got divvied up furniture. So I had no living room furniture, but I had this great big room. This is kind of the catch-all messy end, but that's rows and rows of boxes behind us. So, oh, the brooch. This is one of my inherited pieces. No, I'm not going to try it. I've had trouble getting that phone to sit up, so I will take it off. This is an older one. There we go. It doesn't have that shiny rhodium back, and it's not sterling. It is missing, and you can't really tell, but it is missing the big rhinestone, which may or may not be in my jewelry box. I don't know. I don't think this one came from my mom's family. I think this is one I picked up along the way somewhere. My great-grandfather was a jeweler, and when my great-aunt passed away, I was only 19, and she had a note in with the will that I was to get all the jewelry boxes in the house. Note the phrasing of that. It was not I was to get her jewelry box. I was to get all the jewelry boxes in the house. Well, she had 2. My great-grandmother's jewelry box was there. My great-grandfather's jewelry box was still there. Plus all the jewelry boxes that had bits and pieces of stuff that he had never finished because he was a jeweler. My great-grandmother got disowned for marrying a tradesman. Oh, the horror. She married a jeweler. You know, when the Great Depression hit, guess who didn't lose their house? You know, because everybody needed their watches repaired. Everybody needed their clocks to run on time. If you were late for work, you were fired because there could be 19 other guys outside the door waiting for your job. So they never had a problem. She married a jeweler. So I do still have the watch that he made for her as the wedding present. It's a gorgeous wristwatch. It doesn't run, though, right now. Yes, I did just go live, Sharon. I was a little late. I was like 2 minutes late, so. What do you mean on so early? It's 11 p.m. here. It's Thursday. I'm usually on at 11 p.m. on Thursday nights. And then what we have this week as an unboxing. Next week will be a sale, and then there's one more unboxing. And by then, I should have everything caught up. I finally, after a week of trying, I finally, today, right before I left for work, got Pirate Ship to work. And we figured out why I couldn't get it to work. My son gave me his old laptop. It still had the driver in it trying to talk to a printer he no longer has. So it wasn't talking to his printer, and we couldn't figure out why. And he finally went into the settings and found out that we didn't actually have this laptop talking to his new printer. It's talking to a printer that has long ago died and isn't here. So that'll be a big help to finally have that. Yeah, there's a lot of treasures hiding behind me. But every once in a while, since there is, I bit myself in the butt doing 2 back-to-back lives in December. And in retail, December is a crazy time anyway. So I think you should, Sharon. Yours is, I think, already out. You thought, Lavish, you thought today was Wednesday all day? No, I know today wasn't Wednesday because last night was Wednesday and I had to deal with scouts. So Wednesdays are always Boy Scout night for me. So, but yeah, there's lots of treasures. There's one treasure I had to take away because I put it there as eye candy, and someone was drooling over a gorgeous it was a gorgeous chrysanthemum on a big aluminum tray. But my son kept saying maybe he wanted it, maybe he didn't. Finally told him, make up your mind, because somebody that sees it every night wants to buy it. And he said, oh, sure, she wants to pay me $100 for it. He decided he really wanted it. It's now hanging up on his wall. How is Gandalf? Gandalf was just here, but because I was stepping over him with piles of books, he got nervous. So he left, and I think he went upstairs to Mike's room to lay on his pillow up there. He's not happy with me. Sometimes if I come into the room, he'll leave. He's still not a happy kitty. So that's okay. I know it's late for you and you're already tired. It's hard for you to do my live, so but Myrna Neal, hello. But anyway, for those of you who want to know, Gandalf is doing okay. He's still painfully thin. I can still pet him now. I can't feel the bumps on the spine anymore. I can still on the sides though. When I pet him, feel the rib cage. So it's gonna take some time. I have it's a tube of this gel-like stuff, which is high calorie for kittens. And the vet told me to try to get him to eat that. I'm running out of catnip. There's this stuff called Meow-Awana, and it is like premium. It's not cheap, but it is premium catnip, and they both go more bonkers over that. They will, if they see the tube in my hand, they will follow me, both of them. So I put that on. I found out that was the trick. If he didn't want to eat something, I just put a little bit of that on it. That got him to eat. And he's been drinking water on his own. He really, that first 26 hours that I was awake that day, he really hated being forced to take water with an eyedropper. And it would take about 15 minutes to get a decent amount of water into him. But he's okay. He's alive. He's moving around fine. He sleeps a lot because he's still underweight. The side of his face, all this behind the ear and down to here is all shaved of fur, and it's still swelling. So that's a problem. And so they shoehorned us in to Lancet to take some of the goo out of it. But we both have our doctor's visits. I go to the rheumatologist on Monday and he goes to the vet on Wednesday. And we'll see what they say. If they think they wanted to give the antibiotic another week to work and see how he's doing. But he is eating and he's drinking on his own. And he hasn't peed in my shoes anymore, though he tried yesterday. So that's the update on the sick cat, Gandalf the Stray. And Laonda Sanders. I think I just made Sharon C a mod. Oh, Peddling Profits, you're in Ohio? I've been to Ohio. It's been a lot of years, but I've been there. But yeah, he is doing a lot better. And the doctor is calming down. She's not as needy for him being sick and me spending time with him. She's not being quite so jealous and needy. So So, you want to see the fun stuff I found? This stuff isn't fun stuff I found. This is fun stuff I bought that's got to go on. These have to go on eBay. I've got box set DVDs. I've got 3 seasons of Criminal Minds and season 1 of Heroes. Never actually even seen Heroes. I got to get them onto. Snow on its way again in Ohio. Yeah, which means it'll probably come next door to me. Well, I'm not that close. I'm on the other side of the state. I'm below Philadelphia. But it'll catch, I just saw her live last night. She's near Pittsburgh. Doggone Happy Vintage? I think she is. Peddling, I'm in Chester. I am below Philadelphia. I am the halfway point. Chester is a city that goes back to the pre-Revolutionary War days, and we are the halfway point between Wilmington, Delaware, and Philadelphia, PA. So I have to actually find my scissors to get this box open to show you the first thing I found, because it's Anchor Hocking, but it was taped shut. I'm hoping it's heavy, so I'm hoping what's in here. Oh, wow, it is. Grapes. You see that? So I need a bath. There's four little cups, and assuming 4 of these snack trays. God, these are heavy. Wow. Wow. In the original box. Oh, wow. Were these ever unpacked? Look at this. It's still got that perforated paper. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they're all still in there. Wow. I don't remember these. No, I really don't ever remember these. My mother never had these. I wonder if they came from my, you know what? These might have come from my aunt's stuff, or from my friend Nancy, who left me a bunch of stuff. But it's in the original box. That's going to be a bugger to ship. It's going to be really heavy. So I hit 500 subscribers, and I had decided that I would have a glass sale at some point. But so I've been saving up glass stuff. So I think that will be saved for the glass sale, because right now I only have the Blanco, that thing, the Bell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So right now I only have 9 pieces of glass. That's not gonna make it. That's not enough for a sale, for a special sale. So I think I'll save that snack set. I mean, would there even be interest for that kind of thing, though? What do you guys think? Would there be interest in this for a live sale? A snack set like that? I mean, they look pretty, that's for sure. I just don't know if anybody be interested. Yeah, okay. Oh, that shipping, though. But at least it's really well packed in there. That's nice. So the 2 boxes I picked turned out they were all books. So one of them signed. So she bought it in 1991. The bill of sale is still in here, but it's Nantucket Love Stories. And it's actually signed by the author. So it's Yes, doctor? What do you want? Where are you going? She's mountain climbing. You just stay off that mantelpiece and away from that clock. Inky Dink Original First Edition, August 1991. Inky Dink Press, Nantucket, Massachusetts. So, yeah, shipping on that snack set, that's definitely gonna be a booger bear. I don't know, this close, this is something that I should have had up for Valentine's Day, but I just found it today. I don't know if they're saucy stories. True tales from the history, legend, and lore of America's most romantic island. All right, what do we got on the back here? This sounds like something Katie would be reading. The back caption, and it doesn't say which of the stories it's from, but it says, "How does thee know my name?" It wasn't that Captain Dudley didn't mean to answer her question. He suddenly found himself without words. "May I sit down beside you?" he asked. "Thee hast not said how thee knows my name." "Oh, I am not sure. I don't remember how I learned it." Dudley slowly settled down in front of Phoebe's sack full of fleece. "What are thee called?" she asked. "Captain Dudley," he replied. "Hast thee no Christian name?" "I am no Christian." Suddenly Phoebe stopped her picking. Her eyes bored more deeply into his soul. "Why not?" she demanded. "I am not worthy," said he. "None of us are, Captain," she said. Well, there's a teaser for you. It's supposedly Nantucket's history is abundant with stories of love. There are the classic lovers that every schoolchild knows. There are love stories that have changed the course of our island's history, and love stories that have faded into oblivion. Jim Patrick has done extensive research on the topic and presented us with 15 love stories, famous and obscure, somber and passionate, flamboyant and staid. Wow. Well. And the way they're written up, it does look like they're written up as fiction stories. So there's like conversations. It's not like a dry history book. Katie got herself a reputation. Oh, for some of the stuff she's reading, yeah. I'm very tempted to just send this to Katie. I'll take a look and see if they are going to be, if they're going to be saucy enough. Oh, little vintage me. Good night, sweetheart. I know it is late for you, but we appreciate you saying hello. So we have 30 watching and 17 thumbs up. Well, I'm one of them, so that makes it 19. I think some of you saw this one before. We've got a cold cuisine cookbook. The only one I remember ever having as a kid was salmon mousse. Salmon mousse is something that's been around for ages. That's an old Victorian thing. But I found that one. And how many remember, like, back in the day, as you used to have to take notes when somebody called your boss? This has, while you were out, it's carbon paper, carbonless, but it's got everything for the date, the time, who it was to, it just says M and then of and then phone, area code, number, extension. It even has telephoned, please call, called to see you, will call again, wants to see you, urgent, or returned your call, and room for the message. And they're all perforated. There's quite a few still in there. So that is really old school office stuff. I didn't find a date anywhere. Holyoke, Massachusetts. AMPAD, American Pad and Paper Company. But I just thought that was kind of cool. Insert this flap under the yellow page to prevent write-through. If you have a busy enough house, that could be kind of cool. I don't have a busy enough house. Not that there's a lot of, yeah, and in the day and age of cell phones, I don't know that you'd need that. But let's see what we've got here. Because I know there are some of you that do sewing. So I found a slipcovers book and a patchwork book. Dolls to make for fun. Look at the faces on some of these. Like the little googly eye kid down in the corner. And then this one's all hearts. Hearts to stitch and craft, which I thought was interesting. And if you guys see, I mean, I don't know if this, I love this page because it's got like all the ephemera kind of stuff. And this page, okay, so you got the bunny is the thing you can make, but that poor kitten looks so sad. It was an unhappy kitten. But this has got even little woodworking things in it. So I don't know that these would go into a live sale. I can't knit well enough to be doing that. So for the most part, if now I know the coloring books will probably go into a live sale, not all at once, but these hardback book things that I found in the box, if anybody is interested, shoot me an email and we'll see. I was thinking about putting the like vintage cookbooks I know are very popular. So the vintage cookbooks will probably go into a live. Some of these others, I just don't know if there'd be enough interest. So refrigerating and heat. Oh yeah, answering phones and writing down messages. My mom was a professional singer of her house, so I remember having to write down messages for all of that. Hi, Angela. Yeah, and a great brooch. I have some cool ones. I can't wear jewelry at Wawa. I really miss wearing the cool jewelry I have. I used to be able to do that all when I worked at the art museum. I loved being able to wear my jewelry. So who remembers Ed McMahon on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson? I have Ed McMahon's Bar Side Companion. It's a weird size. It's very long. Blend of round the bar games, bets, spirited stunts, jokes, and tricks. So the illustrations aren't, I mean, the illustrations are okay. There's the gentlemanly art of drinking is part of it. So I don't know what I'd do with that one. Magic Made Easy or Sleight Hand for Every Man. So it's not like it's a bartending book in that it has drink mixes in it, but it's a bar book with like little games and stuff and tricks you can do. And that's, how old is this? Oh, 1969. But that's an interesting one. Well, yeah, I mean they are for sale, but like I don't know that like ones like this would go into a live sale. So I had said it, if anybody like the sewing books, the craft books, if anybody, the cookbooks, I'm pretty sure the cookbooks are going to go into the next live sale next week. But, and the coloring books, I'm going to start putting some of them, wait till you see some of those, into the live sales. But the rest of these hardback books, shoot me an email if somebody, if you're interested. And what I'll do is I'll probably like offer to the first email I get for that particular book. And then then we'll work our way down. An old Mr. Boston bar guide. I have one of them, but it's going on eBay because it's from the 1930s and Mama needs a new heater. So I love you guys, but that's worth more on eBay. And Mama needs a new heater. So I have been coughing all friggin' night. Myrna, I always have my sales, my lives are always, we jokingly call them the night owl sales because they're always Thursday night starting at 11 p.m. because I work in the evenings. So I usually work till 10. So usually by then I can get home and I'm not running into any of the bigger channels that have their lives. I was real careful of picking when. I'm a night owl anyway, so I'm more awake at night most of the time. So it would be Thursday nights. I'm usually always live on a Thursday night. And next week, because I got so backlogged here, I was alternating live sales with unboxings. So this week is an unboxing. Next week will be a live sale. The following week will be another unboxing and then a live sale. And then we'll see how things go for March. By then I should have, we saw the problem of why I couldn't get labels to print so I could use pirate ship. That should definitely make streamline a little faster. So I checked in on Katie's sale, and can I tell you that every time I've seen today, she's had that blasted kangaroo, which I find is slightly creepy looking to me. But it was so funny, even when she had the sale, the brief moment I was in the back room and had a chance to like check in on the sale, to say hi and give them a thumbs up, because it makes such a difference for channels how many thumbs up they get. It really does make a difference for them. But what do I say? Here comes that kangaroo again. I'm like, really? Myrna, if you're gonna be at the sale, he better not be hopping my way. Get that creepy thing away from me. So Myrna, if you're gonna be at my sale, shoot me an email. My email is right there in the corner. It's all the usual stuff, but there have been so many trolls lately. A lot of the channels you need to like I'm not making everybody a wrench because that's just too crazy. But get away, kangaroo is haunting you. Get away. But if you send me, Myrna, if you send me your email that you use for PayPal, because that's how I do my invoices, your shipping address, and name, YouTube name, shipping address, PayPal. Brain is like a steel sieve tonight. Crochet books for Cupid doll clothes. Ooh. Oh, what did I do with that? Well, bugger, what did I do with that? I washed it. I know I have a Cupid doll plate. It's not super old, but it's Cupid doll plate. And I washed it because I took it out of the kitchen. I took it off the wall. My mom had some plates. She liked Cupid dolls because she was of that generation. My mother had been born in 1929. And now that you mentioned Kewpie doll clothes, I'm wondering what the devil did I do with the Kewpie doll plate? Because I meant to put it in a live sale and now I don't know where I put it. Well, I'll tell you, Katie, now that having seen the creepy kangaroo, I know to look for it too. And as much as I don't really particularly care for creepy looking kangaroos, I will make sure I buy it too so I can resell it. A lot of people went crazy for that thing. Doggone happy vintage. Hi, hon. I was just talking about you. You're the one out by Pittsburgh, right? So this one is another one that, now this is old. And somebody put brown tape over the edges. The funny part is like if you look at the pages look great. But the cover, the spine probably split along the sides here because this side of the spine looks pretty good. But you could tell they use it a lot because this happens a lot. This part dries out, and when they pull it off the shelf, that's the part your finger goes on. So, and then on the inside, it's coming loose. The end paper, there is no other end paper. There should have been an end paper page on this side. But it's Mrs. Rohrer's Philadelphia cookbook, a manual of home economies printed in Philadelphia in, now according to this date, it's 1886. It even has room for you to write in additional recipes, which is really, really pretty cool. I hope you like okra. There's 3 okra recipes right there. I like okra. It's just that it gets kind of slimy. The Philadelphia Cookbook. Gelatin pudding. Back when you had to make your own flavor. Juice 2 oranges. Now it does have a petty corner is, but it's got little, and you can see where that's discolored it. So there are little things. Apricot Bavarian cream, Parisian Charlotte. No idea what that is. Lots of Bavarian cream, hard sauce, a cake without eggs, which would be very handy to somebody that can't have eggs. Sponge cake, ginger cookies, plain cookies. What? Lemon pickle. What? Pickled walnuts. Why would you pickle a walnut? So there's a lot to that. So this is definitely, in spite of the condition of the cover coming off, I think that'll be next Thursday. Judy Reardon, hi, hon. Oh, you have a great granddaughter. Awesome. My mom got, my dad missed seeing the first great grandchild by 3 weeks. And we were also terrified Jen would go into labor when my dad died because his death was sudden, and she was the one granddaughter that really was, you know, grandpa's girl. So, but my mom got to see several great grandchildren, which was cool. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's at least 4 here. And these are the ones that made me think of Katie, because they're all old murder mysteries. Mignon G. Eberhardt. And this is just called Mystery Book, Speak No Evil and With This Ring. So it's got 2 novellas in this one. You know, it kind of looks like one of the Greek gods staring down at some poor little mortal, doesn't it? You think pickled walnut would kill most of us? Yeah. I'm just not, I love walnuts. I'm just not with that idea of pickling it. So this is a first printing from 1945, and it's even got the books in wartime. You see that little thing in there? So because paper was rationed, they were very specific about there were very specific rules from the War Production Board about conserving paper. So it had to be a lighter weight, so it had to be thinner pages. They had to figure out ways to make that old paper. So the early paper is almost all wood pulp, which is why it starts turning brown and gets very brittle. And then they started making rag paper. So they would put a little bit of threads in it. And they did that during the war to help make the paper thinner, but still more flexible. And so a lot of that has it. Also, they weren't supposed to have more than 1 or 2 pages of ads sometimes in the back, or even any. So that's when you start seeing a lot more where the dust jacket, the fly leaf on the back, the overleaf, would have ads on this part because of the war effort. Okay. Every inch of that dust jacket and everything was at a premium. So that one's got 2 mystery books in that. And then this one's by Rufus King, Secret Beyond the Door. And I'm guessing this cover is a shot from the movie. It says the exciting book from which the movie hit was made, starring Joan Bennett and Michael Redgrave. A Universal International release. Now, the only reason I know who Joan Bennett is because she was in Dark Shadows. But you got his face overlaid, The Secret Beyond the Door. Such great covers. Triangle books. And formerly published under the title Museum Piece Number 13. So that would have been what the original book was called, but the movie was probably called Secret Beyond the Door. Yeah, Beyond the Door. And 1947. Does it say anything? Yeah, see, that's one thing I miss that modern books have, is like modern books, like this part would be about the author and the front part would be about the story. And I don't know this one. What does it tell us? Okay, so basically he marries this girl, takes her to the country, to the estate, turns into a morbid to understand and harder to trust. So yeah, it sounds like, yeah, I love the bottom comment. Lily discovers the mystery in this modern Bluebeard's chamber, just in time for her psychiatrist to help her avert tragedy and an irrevocable fate for herself. Sounds like typical 1940s murder mystery, but what a great cover. There's another Mignon Eberhardt, The Dark Garden. In a dark, fog-shrouded mansion on the shores of Lake Michigan, Katie Warren overheard a word, and it was planned that she too should die. But such great graphics. You know what would be cool with these is to like have them out as a display at Halloween time, because they really do have some neat cover art. And I'm guessing this one's also triangle books from the 40s. Reprinted November 1943. The story itself was from 1933. The Odor of Violets. Oh, now here's a unique one. Look at the graphics. Look at the dogs. I love the dogs. But this one intrigues me. At the bottom of the thing says, it took a blind detective to follow this slender clue, solve 2 brutal murders, and crack a spy ring. The Odor of Violets. I half want to read that just to figure out how did a blind guy with 2 German shepherds crack a crime ring crack a spy ring. Just on, now I get the odor thing because if any of you have ever seen a movie called M, the letter M, that's all it is. Not Bela Lugosi. What's his name? Peter Lorre. It is a Peter Lorre movie. It was not made in the U.S. He was a very well-known actor in Germany before he came to the States. Oh yeah, this would be bad fun to read any of these at Halloween. But Peter Lorre, when he came over here, he was a very respected and well-known actor in Europe. And then he came over here and they kind of gave him all these weird, creepy roles. But he was a leading man over there. And his most famous movie is called M. And it's a murder mystery. And it is not for the faint of heart because it's a serial killer. And the serial killer is killing children. But it took the blind guy to crack the case because of something that he kept saying. And he's the one that figured it out and cracked the case. But it's wild because, you know, because it involves children, everybody's like freaking out. And it's done very much in it's a black and white movie. It's done very much in that film noir style. And it is one of the absolute best uses of shadows I've ever seen in an old black and white film noir movie. And it's just called M. And it is in English, so you don't have to worry about subtitles, but boy, is it awesome. If you can find it, I got it off of Netflix. They used to have the DVD of it. But if you can find that one, go for it. See if you can find it. It's really pretty cool. But it is one of those where it was somebody you didn't expect, just like that one has the blind detective, somebody you wouldn't expect to be able to crack it. But M has that same kind of twist where there's one character in there that manages to crack it because the police are rounding up everybody in the crime world. The crime world wants no parts of this, so even they're trying to find out who this guy is. And it's really suspenseful and really photogenic and really one of the best movies of the old black and white ones I've ever seen. That being said, I have a original, well, I don't know if it's original. It's Anna and the King of Siam. Now, any of you that have ever heard of The King and I, this is the book. This is the book that The King and I is based on, the Broadway musical. Now, this one says copyright 1944 and illustrated by Margaret Dyer. So 1944, and I don't know when the movie came out, but this book was based on, I know it was based on a real person because there was an Anna Leonowens, and she got to read Anna Leonowens' diaries and stuff and then wrote the book. Basically fictionalized Anna Leonowens' life. And did, I think, even got to do an interview with her before she died. But that's the original. And it is a great cover, but the cover is got issues. And how Margaret Landon met Anna Leonowens. And that's the author, but that's Anna. That picture there. Vintage and vinyl, I like it too. I haven't actually seen it live on stage. I've only seen the movie. But it is a cool story. Oh, this one, I did read this one. This one was in the box. Well, it was sitting on top of the box. Oh, there's my Downton Abbey bookmark. I wondered where that went. Pilgrims, Heretics, and Lovers, A Medieval Journey. I have not laughed so hard at a history book as I did with this sucker. Good night, Nate. This sucker was a riot to read. It goes through the life of the troubadours. Now, the troubadours came out of Midi, M-I-D-I, and it's an area. It was an area of France, and it really explains what the troubadours really were. They weren't just goofy. The troubadours were not minstrels. There was a whole peck of these things. And they, through how they helped shape some of the history, because the rulers would often use the troubadour to send messages to each other, because who's going to suspect somebody whose job it is to travel from palace to palace? They're not necessarily a spy, but they were a nice, quiet network to get information to and from. But the troubadours also could get in trouble for writing verse, because, like, one says that Bertrand de Born was a warrior troubadour who wrote verse to provoke a war between Richard Coeur de Lion and Philip Augustus. But it was interesting. It was definitely an interesting read. And it ties it in to how they fit into the history. But it's done, some of it's very tongue-in-cheek when they talk about how, you know, this one was trying to woo this one's wife because they wanted their land. So he figured if he killed the husband in battle, the two would marry and then their lands would combine. There's some sneaky stuff in there. What else is here? This is a neat cover if you like horses. That's a nice old picture. It's Sports of Colonial Williamsburg. Now, when I think of Colonial Williamsburg, sports is not the first thing that comes to my mind. Not at all. And inside it says property of Newsome's High School. What did I do to my laptop? There we go. Hi, Catherine. This one is illustrated by photographs of the Virginia court season of 1935, and it was printed in 1937. So this, again, was part of the book collection that and there were a lot of these unusual little one-off printings. So he's just standing there fiddling in the grass in the courtyard. So that the different chapters are music, games. Now, Colonial Williamsburg, so they're going to wrestle on the green. Oh, wow. So it's illuminations, Knights of the Golden Horseshoe, and horse racing. So that's, but I do like that cover art. So let's put that one down there. This is an advertising one in a way. Hers, potato chips, it's Chips of Wisdom. And it's all just little, there's a few pictures, little flowers. They're all black and white. And it's just living proverbs paraphrased. And it was put out by Jim Herr of Herr Foods in 1971 by Tyndale House Publishers. Tyndale House did a lot of religious books. And there are some biblical quotes. There's other things. Honoring a rebel will backfire like a stone tied to a slingshot. The rich and the poor are alike before the Lord who made them all. There's just all kinds. If you're looking for advice, stay away from fools. That's not always so easy to tell. So that one's probably just gonna go. This another cookbook, more modern one, the Little Irish Cookbook. I remember when these came out. These were very popular in the 90s. There was a whole series of them printed by Chronicle Books. Now, Chronicle Books did a lot of coffee table size books with they always had great illustrations. And these little cookbooks were just little gift books. Beef in Guinness. Perfecting Pearls. You want that one? Dublin. Yeah, that's true. It would be good for St. Patrick's Day. Gooseberries. How much for that one? Oh, geez. Now it does have a name and a date written on the front page. But other than that, there's nothing wrong with it. It's in really good shape. Doesn't even have the original price on it. Oh, let's see. Perfecting Pearls wants that one. Annie K wants that one. It's a little bitty thing. I'll figure it out. The cookbooks are all going to be in next week's live sale. So, I might have the Little Book of English Tea. I used to have one too that was the honey book. I think I sold the honey book on eBay. There's a couple more cookbooks. The German and Viennese cookbook. And the picture on the cover goes all the way around. There's the kids coming in from playing, the dog coming in. They're all coming in, but look, the little girl, the boys were out playing with the drum. The little girl got stuck cooking, helping mom cook. Isn't that always the way? Financial aid, you need half a bottle of wine to get through that financial aid paperwork. Lady Hack Mom. Oh, you changed your name. Eclectic Thrifter. Oh, I love it. I always wanted to have I used to call it a junk shop, but I always wanted to have a little shop called Eclectic Tastes. But in this area, I'm not sure how many people would know what eclectic meant. Let's see, what do we got? Hot potato salad, boiled potatoes. It looks like all the pictures are black and white, or they're illustrations. So German and Viennese. Stolen. Filled Berlin donuts called Bismarcks. Anise coffee cake. I can't make anything that goes in an oven. My oven's broken. Damn mice. The oven part had rubber hoses, and one of them, dang, mouse bit through. So I can't bake anything, which is no fun. This was the first Christmas we've ever not had cookies in the house. I'm looking for a date. 1970, but it's got a copyright for 1965 and one for 1956. 147 superb German and Viennese recipes. So that one will go in. Oh, wow. What is this sucker? That cover has seen better days. The Wonderful Cookie. That's a well-loved cover. Inside it says Ruth Ellen Anna Harper. So Ruth Ellen Anna must have really loved it. Oh, it's from 1899. The Wonderful Cookie and Other Stories, illustrated. Copyright 1899 by the Werner Company of Akron, Ohio. But it doesn't say who wrote it. Oh, it was a well-loved book. Now, the first one is The Little Goose Girl. That's a great illustration. So, but I see issues like they penciled in numbers across the top of the pages, and there's some little scribbles. It was well loved, that's for sure. Let's see if we can find another. The Maid of Norway. That's a really dark picture. And Jane is interested in a couple of them. Yeah, I'm where's Jane? It's hard because I don't have anybody here to help me to read the chats while I'm trying to go through stuff. I'm looking for you, Jane. The Horse and Sulky. Oh, that's the... Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much, I'm definitely just saving the cookbooks for next week's sale, but like I said, any of the other ones, if the cookbooks and the coloring books are definitely going to be saved for next week's sale. But if you have another one that you are interested in, shoot me an email. I'm guessing is that kind of carriage. That's the one with the horse. That one, Jane? Because that carriage is wild looking. It is huge wheels and a spot for his butt. And that's it. There is nothing to that as a carriage. So if that's the one, Jane, shoot me. My email's there in the corner of the screen. But Wonderful Cookie. I don't know if anybody be interested in that, considering it. You know, I mean, it's not that the book is falling apart. It's just like there's little fingerprints, there's little smudges, there's little they pencil marks where they put a number for the pages. So I don't know about that one. I don't know what anybody want these one. I know Ladybird books. I'll have to look this one up. I know I've sold some Ladybird books in the past. So Ladybird is a British book company. The Ladybird books are often like we have books. Oh, now I'm drawing a blank on who does them. But they're all smaller than this. And they're field guides for trees, for birds, for whatever. And so we had them over here. But Ladybird books would be that kind of thing. But they'd just be these thin little hardbacks that were always informative. They could be about history. They could be about science. They could be about a craft. And this one's just a basic thing. Catherine, my sale will be next week. The same thing. It's always I'm always live on Thursday nights at 11 p.m. I haven't changed that because I just don't have another time where I can really get it done. But this one, like, they always were very careful with their illustrations to make sure that they're very clear and concise. So that, I mean, it was made for kids to be able to teach themselves specifically how to do stuff. Now, this one, it even teaches you how to specifically leave those little holes in. So if you need to put lacings through, I guess. Golden Press. Thank you, Violet. I could not remember the name. But they've got... I love that they're calling it a pram. That tells you how old the book is. They're calling it a pram. You can knit a case for your pencils. A handy bag. A tie for Dad. I remember those ties came back in the 80s very briefly, like into the late 80s, early 90s. A tie like that was briefly in fashion again. I can knit a straight line. So I can knit a scarf and that's it. If it's got any kinds of curves or anything fancy, I have no idea what I'm doing. So there's that one. This one intrigues me. It's just called The Birthday Angel. And you can see it was an ex-library book. It's got the little thing here. But when you get inside, I like the illustration. I really like that picture. And other slotty library, SLOTTIE. So this is a first printing from 1958. So this makes me wonder. There's other slotty library books. There's The Theater Cat. I really would like to see that one. The Lazy Lion, something Columbine, something called Rosalinda, something called Osbert, The Night Before Christmas, The Mystery of Carmen the Cow, The Gentle Giraffe. So they're really pretty interesting. But when you get to the back, and this is why it's called a slotty, the end of the story, the back says to make the birthday angel come to life. And it gives you the directions. Make it at the end of the story. Which makes me wonder, because it's all got little slots, so it just slots in together. But it makes me wonder if the other books also have something at the back. So the little girl's name is Lorelei, and the illustrations are really pretty. I like the illustrations. The illustrations are really cute. They're really pretty. There's another nice one. But it's all about her little birthday, and the outfits are interesting because, like this one, those outfits are so much older than what some of the later outfits look. It really looks like the old grandmothers are Victorian, and then it looks more Edwardian clothing in the back. But apparently, little Miss Lorelei, that's a cute one, is the birthday angel. So you have this neat pattern though in the back to make it so that you could then play with it. And you know, you don't have to, you could make that out of wood if you had a jigsaw and actually have a neat puzzle toy. Or like in there, they tell you to make it out of cardboard or cardstock. So you're basically making a slotted together paper doll. But that's all of the hardbacks. There was, I couldn't, oh wait, no, it's not. Duh. I got two more up here. But I had gone through the two boxes, and the hardback books, the box of that was too heavy for me to lift. And so I basically took out all the older stuff. Some of my college textbooks are in that box. I didn't think we needed to see the psychology books. But some of the other books were stuff from the collection that I'd inherited. But this one is the Old Farmer's Almanac Colonial Cookbook. Oh, Roman numerals. 1940, 50, 60, 1966. Took me a second. I had those drummed into my head a lot as a kid. Neat picture. So it talks about what the early American colonists would have eaten. And then basically everything was extremely seasonal and far more limited than what we are used to now. And probably more limited than what they were used to even in the 40s. You've got oyster stew, onion soup, white turnip soup, sorrel as a soup? Oh, oxtail soup. You know you have no money if you got to use oxtail for soup. There's not enough meat on one of those suckers. They have breads. Sally Lunn. That's Sally Lunn. That's a bread that's been around for 200 years, 300. That's been around forever. Mrs. George Washington's potato rolls. So yeah, you've even got rye pancakes. There's stuff in here I've never heard of. I've never heard of making pancakes with rye. I mean, I know you make bread with rye. And I've heard of bubble and squeak. And of course, we've all heard of succotash. And parsnips are good. They turn sweet. But bone marrow on toast. Now, I know that used to be a thing, to eat the bone marrow. But I kind of think that kind of died off in the 1930s, at the latest. Pheasants in cream with apples. Now you're getting fancy. Roast woodcock. That is, it's some kind of little roast goose stuffing. Roast goose. Fricassee of chicken. Try saying that word when you're drunk. A partridge in vine leaves, pigeon pie, Cornish game hen, or quail. Y'all are eating a lot of birds. We don't really eat nowadays because you can't find them. And then it's got desserts. And the whole decision looks like a lot of are from Mount Vernon, from Mrs. Washington. Yeah, good thing Vinny's not here with that one. What is apple pan dowdy? Whatever it is, it serves 6. They even have a Thanksgiving dinner. So, I mean, sometimes these old recipes, they're fun to try out. Never thought of eating watercress. I haven't done that one. I've been eating dandelion leaves my whole life. Dandelion leaves are very, very high in, was it vitamin A? But there's a trick to that. If a dandelion shows up in my vegetable garden, I leave it alone. Dandelions only live for 2 years. That massive taproot that goes straight down, when that decays, then that becomes the worm superhighway. It gives them a tunnel to come right on up to the top layer, which is what you want in your vegetable garden because it really helps. Worm castings are fantastic fertilizer. So dandelions in your vegetable garden are a fantastic thing. But when you're going to eat the leaves, you don't want the biggest, longest leaves. You want the young shoots. You want those little suckers because they are sweet when they cook. They don't taste bitter. The big ones will taste bitter. If they get heat stressed, they'll taste bitter too. But they're great. Just chop them up, throw them in a soup, and good to go. And they're fantastic for you. But yeah, I let dandelions grow in my yard all the time. I've been having them. Mom put them in soup when we were kids because that was something she grew up with. All right, so Katie's doing Jell-O recipes. Who's going to start doing carnation recipes? The Velvet Blend book from Carnation Condensed Milk. No, evaporated milk. Sorry, evaporated milk. There's a colonial cooking channel on YouTube called Townsend's. Oh. I know there's someone, and I can't think of her name. My son found it. There's a woman. I'll have to get him to tell me who it was again, and then I'll see about putting it in the description. I'll put a comment with a link in the replay of this. She does Victorian stuff and does all the cooking. And she's a YouTube channel. And she actually just this past year actually put out a cookbook to go with it. Carnation Velvet Fudge. So they have a whole section. It's a pity that the pictures inside aren't in color. So they have beverages. I hate one thing I hate about old cookbooks is there's no index. There's no index. So there's quick tricks and a velvet blend with carnation. So you have to sour carnation milk, to whip carnation milk, how to make a dessert topping, and to use carnation. Now they have beverages. Oh no. Pineapple eggnog. No, that's just wrong. That is just, no. I like eggnog. No, you're just not putting pineapple in my eggnog. Just no. A ginger ale fizz. 1 cup of carnation milk, undiluted, 3 cups of ginger ale. I think that would give me a stomachache. That's just wrong. That's just wrong. A chocolate banana malted. You know what kills me is looking at these is this was made before blenders really were a household thing, because it's telling you to take 4 ripe bananas, 2 cups of carnation milk diluted with 2 cups of cold water, and a half a cup of carnation chocolate flavored malted milk. Do they even still make that? You could probably use Nestle's Quick. And ice. And then it tells you, press the bananas through a sieve. Then combine them with the diluted carnation milk and the carnation chocolate flavored malted milk in a shaker or bowl. Add ice. Shake or beat well. Do you know how hard you'd have to shake to get a banana, even if you put it through a sieve, to really mix up well with all that? But then back in the day, you know, you would have had much better strength of arms because you didn't have so much stuff to help you out. You follow a lady who cooks only on cast iron on an old wood burning stove. Dandelion wine. I would love to know what that tastes like. Okay, about Victorian Cooking Channel. Yeah, they are interesting to just watch. But I saw somebody mention dandelion wine. I remember as a kid being upstate in Elysburg, well, they were in Catawissa at that point. That's where the big house was with the big property and the steer. My Aunt Mary, they had a place, and we would have to go pick the dandelion flowers, and they would make dandelion wine, but I never had any. I'd love to know what on earth that tastes like. So I've never had that. But they have bread in this one. They have the candies. Now the candies, they have a taffy. They have velvet fudge. Pinoche. P-E-N-O-C-H-E. Is that how that's pronounced? Pinoche? Cream caramels, coconut kisses. Then they have cakes and cookies. Half and half cupcakes. Peanut cookies. 2 different things of icing. Frozen desserts. Back when, you used to make your own ice cream all the time. Ice cream macaron, graham cracker delight. Find out what this is going to be. It's a frozen dessert, and it's a graham cracker delight. So it's unflavored gelatin, water, carnation milk, graham crackers, sugar, and vanilla extract. So you're gonna scald the milk, soften the gelatin in the water, stir it all together, chill it until it's icy cold, roll the crackers into, and then you're gonna, even after it's all the other stuff is stiffened, you're gonna whip it, add the sugar in, and then fold in the crumbs of the graham crackers and the vanilla, and then freeze it, then put it in a mold. What? Why are you freezing it first? Oh, no. Freeze without stirring in a tray of automatic refrigerator. Is there any other kind? At the lowest temperature in a mold buried in a mixture of 3 parts crushed ice to 1 part ice cream salt. What the hell did we just make? So basically it's milk, little sugar, little gelatin, and graham crackers. I'm not sure what that's going to come out as. What on earth was that? That has me confused. But they have other desserts. They have casserole dishes too. So eggs stuffed with mushrooms, coleslaw with dressings, they have sauces. So there's quite a bit in there. And you can still get evaporated milk. You still get carnation. So, I mean, some of them would be fun to do. I'm not known for my cooking. I'm known for my baking. That's why I'm really sad to not have a working oven. So, but that was all the fun ones from the one. And so oh, Catherine, you got your stuff? Your first box, Catherine. I still have to pack some of your stuff because you bought some very heavy breakable things. And I'm really didn't want to put everything in one box because I was afraid that they would just kind of beat them, they'd be too heavy. They even have a non-lactose carnation milk. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. I've kind of really cut off a lot of the milk that I use because I was just starting to have trouble with it. After 2 definite hernias, I still need to have the pancreas tested because there's something going goofy there. So I've just gone to a lot of non-lactose stuff just because it seems to help. And, I'm already dealing with whatever it's either fibromyalgia or it's lupus. Make up your mind, doc. That's all I want to just make up your mind. And that's the doc I see Monday because every year they give me a lupus test because I have some of the symptoms, but I have them what's considered extremely mild. And the blood work comes up close, but within normal parameters, but close to being positive for lupus, but not lupus. What? Don't you hate when you get you have all the symptoms for this, say you're not quite within the parameters to be considered with that illness, but you still have the symptoms. Okay, then let's go with that. I hope so, Terry, because ever since I fell in my garden, I basically have had a flare up of whatever's wrong with me since May. Was it May or June that I fell and slammed up the back of my hand and fractured my hand? And I have just had muscle problems, especially in the hip and in the knees. I can't even make my stairs. I had a mild stroke because of high levels of ibuprofen. Mindful of that crap. They don't warn you of that. And it damaged the left side. So I can't seem, because of that, my left leg doesn't really want to keep its strength unless I make sure I do the exercise every day. However, ever since I fell and have had the problems with the muscles flaring up, I have a hard time getting up the steps. There are 14 steps from the first floor to the second. By the time I get to the top of the first set of steps, I'm going one leg at a time because my left leg will not take my weight to just walk up normally. Now, my packing room, where all the packing of stuff is on the third floor. And those risers are an inch higher than the regular staircase. So it makes it even harder to get up there. So it's been a challenge. 2020 has just been rough on everybody in a lot of different ways. So let's look at some eye candy. This one, so the last time we did an unboxing, remember I had said there was a box and we had pulled some stuff out and sold some of the activity books that were in it that night. And I said I'd have to go through the rest because it looked like it was all coloring books. Well, that's the rest of what I pulled out. Wait till you see some of these. The earliest ones are from the 40s. There aren't too many of those. I think there's 2, 3. But I broke them down to decade. So there's 40s, 50s, 60s, and one from the 70s. Oh, darling. Peddling Profits. I have been drinking turmeric. I have been eating turmeric. I have tea that is a turmeric tea. I've run out of tablets. I used to have these little, gel caps that were turmeric powder. I don't have any more of those. I ran out. But yeah, I've been taking turmeric. It helps. It definitely helps. But when I fell, it just didn't help enough. So it's a problem. They don't warn you when you hit 50, the warranty expires and, crap just starts breaking. Oh, Catherine, you like the postcard? Yeah, I have a lot of postcards, so I've been using postcards in my packages. Terry, I have found that it does help because turmeric, it's getting the dosage right. Turmeric does help lessen inflammation. And I'd rather find ways to have that. Turmeric and honey and milk has been used in, I know that came out of Turkey, out of the Middle East, and for centuries. And it just seems to really help take some of the edge off of inflammation pain. And it works great. And I have yet to have any side effects from any of it, which is wonderful. What's the other one? I found out that Earl Grey tea, there have been studies that, of course, none of them came out of the US, but a friend of mine sent me a link to a study she had found, and they cited a study that had been done in Canada, one in Ireland, and one in Britain, where they studied Earl Grey tea, and the enzymes in Earl Grey tea give you the same benefits as Prozac. So it helps those with depression. That's been a big help too. It's a good thing I like Earl Grey. My favorite's Prince of Wales, and I can never friggin' find it, but I have one lone box left of Prince of Wales tea from Twinings. And boy, am I savoring every one of those. But well, this is is great. The color in this is fantastic. And this was tucked in with the coloring books. And it's Our Food, Where It Comes From. But look, the bright colors, it just looks like it's brand new. You know, it's such great colors. And it's just a thin little paperback for kids. It's from 1966, but then it says copyright 1945 from the National Dairy Council. Want to know, you know, do you know where your food comes from? You say that to a kid now and they're going to say the grocery store. But it tells you, like, apples grow on trees, oranges grow on trees. Beautiful. Every page has pictures. Every one. But they don't stop at what's here, in the US. They're showing you where bananas and strawberries. Yeah, the graphics are gorgeous. Now, I don't think a pineapple plant field looks quite like this. I think some artists took a little liberty. And I really, really doubt that they're picking pineapples in grass skirts. Pineapples grow on plants. They grow in a warm country far, far away. I don't think anybody's picking a pineapple in a grass skirt. And I don't think pineapples look like soft grass, just bending over. I think they took a little license with that one. Yeah, I mean, now I didn't know where prunes came from. I didn't know that prunes, I don't know why I thought prunes were a tree. Is that a tree or a shrub? So that one's the prunes. But yeah, I'm going to show you, it's only a few pages. I'm going to show you every set of pages because the graphics are gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous. Vegetables. And then now I cracked up because when they talk about the vegetables, one page says green leaves grow on top of the ground. Yellow roots are down in the ground. That is how carrots grow in the garden. Now, there are yellow carrots, and they taste really good. But those are not yellow carrots in that picture. Yeah, aren't dried plums are prunes, right? Prunes are dried plums. We eat plums. We eat prunes too. Okay, so they say it in the picture. Let's see. They've got lettuce, and now this is the center one, and they kind of made sure the picture went over to both. They have tomatoes and they have lettuce. And it really kind of is dated because you see the little girl, not only is she in her high socks and a dress out in the garden, but she even got an apron on. Yeah, I absolutely love yellow carrots. I have to get more. I forget which seed company. Bakersfield or Baker Creek. It's Baker something. I have to order more from them because they also have purple carrots and atomic reds, which are a reddish color. And they are they're great. They have potatoes and peas. They grow on a vine in the garden. But that picture is not really kind of a vine. Now, potatoes like heat, though. I grow potatoes. They don't tend to get very big. But I have a great big, a tree had come in it. So I've got this great big pot like this, and it's about that deep. And it's, black plastic. And I grow potatoes in that every year because they like it warm. So do I ever sleep? I spent 6 years working the night shift at Wawa. I spent 6 years, getting up at noon or 1 p.m. and not going to bed until, 7 in the morning. Get up. Well, get up maybe a bit, like not noon or 1. I probably would get up about 4 because you got to get up. You still got to cook dinner, but yeah, I've always kind of been a night owl, which is why doing community theater worked out so well for me. I am not by any means a morning person. But it's still, they've had me for 2020 early on. I was out of work because I had gotten a hernia at the job. So I ended up, and then I got that. Got lucky with what I got that because I had a really mild case because I sleep on my stomach. So instead of going into my lungs, it went into the bronchial tubes in the front. So I didn't get, and then I hurt my hip. So I didn't get back to work again. I was out on medical leave from December to the end of March. So the night shift at Wawa where I'm at is busy on 3rd. Not just because there's a bar within walking distance, but right now they close early anyway. But we are near some of the refineries. And there is also a FedEx distribution warehouse near us. So between those two, and we're also right around the corner from a decent sized firehouse that has an ambulance with it. So yeah, we tend to get some business. We're also right near I-95. So even though we're not a gas store yet, we are busy at that Wawa overnight. We definitely are busy. They keep trying to catch up with orders shut down for 7 to 10 days. Who's shut down near you? Peddling profits. Hey, Philly Flipper. I saw the question and I didn't see exactly who it said. Philly Flipper, I just found their channel and they're near me. And the lucky bugger has a warehouse to put all his stuff. Philly Flipper, welcome to my warehouse, which I jokingly call Warehouse 13. I've seen your show. You might get that reference. I'm not quite sure. So Philly Flipper is a neat channel. Am I right in that you buy storage units? And some of the stuff he's found has been pretty cool. So he tends to have some different, unique stuff too. We're gonna have to get together at some point though, because I saw he had a whole shelf of porcelain stuff. And as it went past very quickly in one of your videos. Oh yeah, but your warehouse has shelving. It has room to be organized. My whole house is stuffed, hence the name. So if one of my mods can find Philly Flipper, that's the name of the channel, you can put the link for his channel into the chat, because I have no problem with that. And when my lives are over and the replay pops up, if anybody wants to go back into the comments and then leave their channel information in the comments, go right ahead. I don't mind. Oh yeah, Warehouse 13. Oh, I love that show. I thought that was awesome. All right, let's show the rest of these because the graphics are so cool. That one's for cereal. They talk about wheat and corn and oats, and then they go to milk. I think I'll make this one an offer up on next Thursday. Butter and cheese are made from milk. Ice cream is made from milk too. They are made in factories. I don't think I've ever seen a truck like that says milk on the side. I mean, it's a tanker truck, but And then they have meat and fish. And you've got that. And that's the last two in that one. But the graphics, that's why I thought I'd show you every page, because it's just a thin little thing, but the artwork is just gorgeous. You know, it's one of those things where it's such fantastic artwork, but I wouldn't even want to cut it apart for any kind of junk journaling or anything. It's just gorgeous. I don't live in Wisconsin. No, I don't. Some areas of the states I wouldn't want to live in. I have a brother in California. If the ground's not shaking, it's on fire, or it's trying to mudslide, why would I want to live there? No. I hear noises at night in that old house. Not as much as you would think, though, because the pump is dying. Please let it last through winter, because I have to replace that heater. It will not make it through another one. And even now, half the house is not getting heat because the pump is starting to go on it. But the radiator that's back over there makes very weird noises. And it's because the pump can't get enough pressure, which is why the far side of the house isn't getting any heat to it. It's not getting enough pressure to push any air through the radiator and out. So every once in a while, you'll hear an air bubble in the radiator, and it makes this really loud kind of ping noise, which is really weird. And the cat Gandalf doesn't care, but the doctor gets real freaked out about it. Or you'll hear water gurgling, which is, I don't know what that is. So, Philly Flipper. There you go, Philly Flipper. I can't remember your first name, and I know you told me. So let's do the pile of coloring books. Now, these coloring books are going to start showing up we already had some of the activity books sell at the last sale. They're not all going to be all in one sale because this stack is a foot high. Yeah, this stack is easily a foot high. It would end up it would end up taking up the whole night. So the first ones are kind of activity book kind of ones. Now this one's from Xerox. I don't think the graphics are the greatest on this one. I just found it interesting because it was put out Xerox Education Publications. 88 Bright Ideas. They're kind of 70s graphics, I'm thinking. It's got vocabulary ideas, a weather calendar you can make, science ideas, key numbers, dot to dot. I mean, I know a lot of us have, well, I don't have grandkids. Someday, maybe. We haven't decided what the heck they'd be called because technically Michael's my nephew. He's 26. But he's been with me since he was 2. So I was Aunt Mommy for a long time. So that one would probably be paired with maybe with this one, Fun with Words and Pictures, which I like this one because it's kind of got a coloring book, but it also gives you this dotted line, so the kid's actually learning how to spell. Okay, this one cracks me up. This is Jumping Jack. This is Jumping Jack. That is a weird looking thing. Color the Toy. And it's a row. It's Pool Toy ducks, but each duck has a different color name. And they haven't been used. Most of these have nothing in them. And it's interesting little book, but it's 1959. So that one's another one. not been used. An all-day activity book for grade 2. So, you know, if you've got little ones at home, you could always just copy these and use the pages. I know my Aunt Harriet, with her boys, she used to take pictures, their favorite pictures from coloring books, and she would take the outlined picture, and she had quilts she made for each one of them that were these big square blocks, and she would make blocks that had the picture of that page from the coloring book as the block, and she would take it, she'd copy the outline, and she'd embroider all around that, and then whatever colors they had colored the picture, she would cut the inner pieces out and stitch them on and copy it onto the coloring book. Now, this is one that really probably would be good for junk journaling because pages are starting to come out of it. But, I mean, there's this giant crow, but it says feathered friends in your backyard, and it's got great color images. But the spine has cracked, and it's a glue binding, but it's full of great pictures. Good night, Perfecting Pearls. One of them's a bird puzzle that, you know, you could decoupage that actually onto pieces of wood, owls and hawks. But it's cracking even as I'm touching it, because some of these old books, they did a glue binding. The glue gets so brittle that even just opening it. Whitman Publishing Company, Adventures with Birds, 1961. I love birds anyway. And there's just such great color graphics. So that one's going to be one that'll go up. Definitely go up. And I know we have quite a few people that do junk journaling or that do craft stuff with it. I used to do a lot of decoupage. I haven't had the time to do that in a long while. This is another one. It's Keep Busy activity book. Now, if it's got a yellow thing in it. So there's only one flaw with this one. There's one page where somebody cut a picture out, probably of the little house. So I'd probably pair that one up with another one that might have it. Activity Fun. What did you need to bring a friend? What is that? Kind of looks like those creepy guys in the villages in Minecraft. But I like that it has, you can make your own Christmas cards. And it's got the picture. Make a flying bat. You got a hoot owl. Yeah, I thought I saw that. Michelle's going to do junk journaling classes. I don't need another hobby, let me tell you. The neat thing about this one, that one's summer. The neat thing about this activity book is that it's actually broken up to the 4 seasons, which I thought was kind of cool. And there's even Rainy Day Dress Up is paper doll. But there's nothing wrong with it. It's a Whitman one. This one is 1964. Now, this one's going to be an offer up. I tell you that right now. Look what you're playing with. Fun with marshmallows. Who wants to have this weird guy as a marshmallow creature? I was dying. Look, you can make toys. You can make your rocket ship. You can make a tank. I can't help it. I'm still laughing. Look, for Christmas, you can make marshmallow snowmen. How about a marshmallow angel? I have never, ever seen anything like this. This is just too funny. Fiction characters. So they even have Superman and a pirate. I just can't. I just can't. It's just too funny. They have animals. Oh, wait, where is it? I gotta find it. There's a porcupine. I don't know what they're using as the spines, the spikes, but there's a porcupine. Okay, so there's a giraffe, but there's a porcupine. What on earth? What on earth are you spiking it with? Now, some things, like, they tell you, like the lion. Okay, the lion cracks me up. So the lion's mane is frosting, right? The tail is a pipe cleaner, but the whiskers are broom straws. So are you supposed to rip apart Mom's broom, her nasty, dirty broom, for a couple of straws for whiskers? I think not. But this thing, there's a bridal shower. Look at that bride. Isn't this hysterical? This thing is just too funny. They're just too funny. There's pilgrims. They have every holiday in here. They have Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts. I'm so tempted to make those Boy Scout ones if we had Court of Honors right now. They have a graduate, but they have everything you could think of in here. They have every month, because you have April, you have stuff for Easter, you have St. Patrick's Day. Good night, Angela. So, but like I said, they have every month. Oh, look, here's our February. You too can make a marshmallow Valentine thing. That sucker. That's impressive if you can get that to work. Miniature marshmallows strung on wire with red paper hearts in between them. Wow. And then, and they give you examples that you need. And the front has all the instructions of how to cut the marshmallow, what you might need, the other supplies you need. But man, they are just incredible. Somebody sent me a gift. They sent me a tabletop ring light. And I was very touched. Now I haven't set it up yet because I'm still so focused on Gandalf. I mean, he still needs a lot of care, and I still need to check on him every hour and make sure that he's still getting water in him, trying to tempt him to eat as much as he can, because he is still so incredibly underweight. And that's still dangerous. And this whole side of his face is still swollen. So there's still infection in there. So I want to set up that table light, because if I can get it to do it, I can do like Mid-Century Wasted did with her Christmas catalog, and have it so that the camera and the light are down. Because something like this, I would love to do a video just going through and showing you guys every single page, because it's so unique a book. You're never going to see that. You're never going to see that anywhere. So I really might hang on to that one for a little longer, because I want to try to do film like that. If I can't film like that with the tabletop ring light, I will see if I can. Oh, he's back. He's asleep. Anyway, I will see if I can't at some point get a webcam, because my son has one, but he screwed it to his desk, so I can't borrow it. So because I want to have something that I could film straight down, because I have a Christmas catalog from Spiegel. I found a Christmas catalog from Sears. I have a embroidery catalog from the 1930s. And there was some other one. Oh, I have a Sears craft catalog. And it's all that mid-century modern stuff that we're all looking for. And I had to laugh because there's one or two things in there. There's some gravel art in there that I actually own, one of which my sister made probably before I was born. So let me see if I can catch somebody, and you guys will get to see Gandalf. Hi, sweetie. Come here. Come on. They want to say hello. Come on, come say hello. Yeah. Need my pillow. Oh, you sneezed? Say hello. Oh. Timber. Say hi. You don't care. It's okay. Oh, what's the matter? It's all right. You're not happy? You're not happy? Yeah, it's okay. I know I woke you up, didn't I? But they have not seen you. Other than like a picture on Instagram. Gandalf the Stray. He started showing up in our neighborhood about 7 years ago. Might be a little longer, but it's been at least 7. And he's been outside the whole time. I really think somebody dumped him. He will not use a litter box. Hi, sweetheart. But he does pester sometimes to go outside to do his business, like he would if he was raised with dogs. He also he squats like a dog to do his business, no matter what his business is. He squats like a dog, and he doesn't meow. His meow is really hoarse and sounds like he's like almost choking on it, so it's more like he's trying to bark. Oh, okay, babe. I'll put you down. It's all right. I got you. What a good boy. Yes, what a good boy. I just got the dirtiest look. You're a good boy. You know, when cats give you that, their heads down and they're kind of looking at you up this way. I'm getting that look. He's still, he weighs nothing. He still weighs nothing. But he went for really, 7 days not wanting to eat. That's a long time for a cat. But I put 5 years, going on 6, of serious work into getting him to trust me. And so he spent more time inside now than he ever has. But he looks comfy. Don't let that fool you. He's not a cuddly kitten. He lasts about 60 seconds tops and then wants to go down. So yeah. Now the doctor, she's a mama's girl. One of the reasons I kept her is that when I rescued her, and I couldn't catch the 4th one, but we had Doctor, I never caught Rory, and we had Amelia Pond, and we had Davros. Well, Amelia Pond turned out to be a boy. Davros was a boy. So those two got adopted together. Forgotten Cats had somebody who was willing to take those two and foster them. Rory looked like a fluffy tuxedo cat, black with the big white V on the chest. Well, I never was able to catch Rory. And then the doctor turned out not to be a boy. The doctor turned out to be a little girl, but she was the runt. And she really imprinted on me once the other two were fostered out. So she stayed with us, but she's a mama's girl because she will, and she's done this during some lives, where she will find a way to crawl across and come up over an antique platform rocker that's over there, and she'll very carefully walk in between things like Binks does to get across my desk, and she'll climb right up my lap, and she'll put her head up here, and she'll just lay across me. She'll go to sleep. So she's a real handful some nights. So yeah, he does trust me, because originally he wouldn't. I couldn't pick him up. He would have fought that. He's bitten me in the past when I first was trying, and then of course, being an outdoor cat, he would, my hand would puff up. So he does trust me, and it's taken a lot of work. But, what are you going to do? Now there's, in the last 3 or 4 days, there's a big all white male that's come through the backyard. There's an orange tabby I've never seen before. Now, he's a tomcat. He's a male, and he's not fixed, but he's not that big. But there's a huge orange tabby that's been showing up. And then there's a black and white one too, which I've seen the black and white one. The black and white one sometimes will come into the yard, and even if he's out there, and it'll just lay down. It immediately goes to non-dominant behavior, and it'll just lay down and just watch my two cats if they're laying on the picnic table. And I didn't want cats that went outside, but my brother Gary had this attitude of, well, if they're born outside, they should be outdoor cats. No, I've already had 2 cats get hit by cars because him and his coaxing them outside. Gary came with the house. It's in the will. Gary came with the house. But these two are so used to it, and they usually stick around in the backyard. But other cats come into the backyard, and in his state right now, there's no way. So he'll go outside, he'll find a spot where there's dried leaves, like under the eaves of the house, do his business, and then he wants to come right back in. So he does kind of trust me, which is good, but he definitely has that stink eye look that some kitties can give you. The kitty version of side eye. They tilt that head down and they're looking up at you, and the eyes are half open. Yeah. Now, I have a raccoon, and the raccoon, for those who've been with my channel for a while, know that the raccoon got into the house. We found out the raccoon was in the house when the raccoon was eating the cat's food in the kitchen. As I was getting ready to go to work one day, I flipped the light on and went, oh shit, you're not a cat. That was real fun to coax that out of the house, and it kept trying to head for the staircase. Well, then we found out why. She was in apparently a pane of glass during a storm had fallen out of the attic window, well, the 3rd floor bedroom window, and there had been vines all the way up that side of the house. Well, as the children got bigger, she needed a bigger place because she's been hiding out in the wintertime. There's a flaw in the design of the house. There's one porch roof that goes out over the kitchen. The roof goes over part of the kitchen, and then the porch that's off the kitchen. And it has a built-in gutter. So instead of the gutter hanging off the edge, it's actually built into the roof. So it's this weird little, rectangle built in. Well, it used to be a tin roof. So my dad, rather than replace the tin, just had some guy put rubber sheeting over it. But the sheeting never went down into that built-in gutter. So that has rotted away, and it's caused rot underneath the wooden eaves. So The raccoon lives up in that roof for the winter. She doesn't usually stay for the summer, but she's in there for the winter. Now, she had little ones last year. Well, she had 3, though, instead of 2, so she ran out of room. And then they discovered that that pane of glass was out, and here they'd been upstairs in the packing room where all the boxes were. And I didn't know it until one day I had left the door open, and I don't know how long, that door was open for a week. So while we were asleep, guess she explored the house. Thank God the little ones didn't. That would have been hell. So yeah, that's so if I have a mascot for my channel, it's going to be a raccoon. But she's back. I've heard her moving around in the ceiling on the back part of the kitchen. So she's up there again. It's where she hangs out for the winter, but she's never bothered the cats. The possum has never bothered the cats either. The possum's around too. And I tease Nate by calling him Possum, which if you've ever seen Dame Edna, she calls everybody Possum, because I knew Nate would get it. But I can't call the possum that I have Nate because it's a girl. So I just call it Mama. The doctor is fascinated but terrified of it. So when it's in the backyard at night, she'll hop up on top of something, either the windowsill of the kitchen, the railing on the porch, the wood pile, and she'll watch it. She's fascinated by it. But the minute it comes anywhere near her, she freaks out, and I'll hear her crying, like Caterwall crying like cat on a back alley fence, just making its wild noise. I've had to go out and rescue her off of the wood pile because she was afraid to hop down to run up to the kitchen door to come in because the possum was there. So I've had to actually go out and get her. So a kitty TARDIS? Uh-oh. Aw. You lost your cat. Yeah, I lost a Pekingese to cancer in the mouth years ago. It was the Pekingese I grew up with, named Susie. Yeah, it doesn't take much of a spot for the raccoons to get in. If their front shoulders can fit through, and their shoulders are narrow, they can fit through. Right now, there's a piece of wood over that because there's not enough whiskey on the planet to get me up a ladder that goes from the ground to the 3rd floor bedroom window. There's not enough whiskey. There's not enough Glenfiddich in Scotland to get me up a ladder that high. So that pane of glass is still out until such time as I can get somebody to go up there. So, no. So let's see what else we've got. Now we've got another one. It's fun with handicrafts for juniors and junior high. So I'm expecting this one to be a little more fun, but it's, in a way, it's not. I mean, it's got the thing of contents. You've got aprons, blueprints, bottle caps, camping gear. Really? I might have to look that one up. You've got a ton of stuff. Topical list. What page is that camping gear? Because as a Boy Scout, I want to see that sucker. 41 and 69. All right. So for camping gear, oh, they have a sit-upon. I remember making sit-upon in the one lone year I was in Girl Scouts. So a sit-upon is you take some kind of plastic or vinyl, you'll put layers of newspaper in it, and then you stitch it shut. And you're basically making a mat that you can sit on. They have how to make a sleeping bag with old blankets. Well, if you made it out of wool, that'd be all right, but They're telling you use old wool blankets and burlap. I don't know about that burlap part. A thermos jug made out of an old glass milk jug. Wow. You know, those glass milk jugs were kind of huge. So it's not, I mean, they're practical. A flower pot cooker? Well, I suppose you could. As long as the flower pot wasn't, a clay pot wasn't cold. If it was too cold and you put hot ash or some hot things in it, it's going to crack. All right, where is the Christmas one? So these, it's a lot more instruction than picture. So you're not getting through as much. Where is the Christmas one? Ornaments. There are no decent pictures to tell you what you're making. So like, now that, how many of us remember those paper chains with the construction paper? But this one is interesting because it's a different shape. They're using straws. Back when, now they say colored cellophane straw chains. I don't remember colored cellophane straws. The wax paper straws I remember. And I think there might be a box of them in the pantry. But, I mean, it's a neat cover. But this one's not nearly as fun as the other one because there's just not enough pictures. Eclectic Thrifter. Bye, hon. Now this one I like the cover of this. You know, it's a Dennison book. Dennison always did cool books. I really like the cover. And this one has more stuff that you can actually make. You got Halloween stuff, but it gives you the graph so that you actually could transpose it. It's got stuff for every season. Like it teaches you how to make a desk blotter for September, some paper bag masks for October. It's got costumes, how to make an angel costume, how to make those with cray paper. I remember making all kinds of stuff with cray paper. You used to be able to get big full sheets of it. How to make a ring toss game. So this one has some neat pictures and it's got some neat ideas. Trinket boxes, how to do modeling over a frame. So that one's got some neat pictures. I've got a How and Why book on primitive man. Now this one is one of those stars and planets, a golden stamp book, but this one has only got one stamp that was used. So if you wanted this just to get these for junk journaling, you have it because, you know, only the one was ever used. Now we get to the coloring books. I can't tell you how many of these fun pad things I went through as a kid. Every time a new one came out, Annie Allen, Annie Floss, my great aunts would buy it and get it to me. I went through so many of these. Costume from a paper bag from the cleaners. Possibly, but my mother was a professional seamstress. So she usually made our costumes. I know it's here in the house, but somewhere in the house is my costume from when I was maybe 5, maybe 6, because there's a photograph of my oldest brother. He's dressed up like an Indian. The girlfriend is dressed up like an Indian. And I'm dressed up like a princess. And the dress was made from material from some kind of ball gown from my great grandmother or great, it's all silk. And somewhere around here, that dress is still here, the one my mother made. So yeah, most of my stuff was made. Now my siblings, my older siblings, before she started doing professional sewing, they probably had stuff. Steve went as a mummy one year, wrapped himself in Lord knows how many rolls of toilet paper to make this mummy outfit. He was probably, I think he was about 15, maybe 16. Now, what's the problem with toilet paper? If it gets wet, and it rained that night. That didn't work out real well. So these fun pads, they have a name written on the top of each one, but they haven't been used. Now, the cool part about, if anybody's never seen these fun pads from the 70s, they have stuff on every page. And you had everything. You had origami stuff. You had dot to dot. You had color by number things to do. They even have, like it says, start other side first. Start this side first. I don't think I have any left because I used them all as a kid. I always loved those pages where you did the color by number. So I've got 2 of those of the exact same one. Now that's from the 1970s. That's from 1976. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, 5 coloring books from the 1960s. Now this one, Simple Objects, this is kind of cool, and it has one flaw because somebody cut a picture out. But not all of the pages have it, but most of the ones in the front, they have a color picture for you to do the same picture in those colors. So it's teaching the kid the colors. Oh, look at the plaid. Isn't that cool? Good night, Serendipity. But like I said, not all of them have it. And I know, oh, who can remember these? Oh, some of the pages are starting to pop on this one. Who remembers having that? The mittens with the matching little hat that tied around your chin. So we've got that one. I'm just loving the artwork of the covers. The Vacation coloring book. And this one, they're all very plain and simple. They're all simple things, like a striped tie. You know, this would definitely be one for littler kids that don't have the hand control. One page in this one, the Lighthouse page. That's the only page that's actually done. Everything else inside is fine. That one's Western. Oh, it's Whitman, but it's 1963. This is another one. Great covers. You remember these? I still have a lot of coloring books that I colored in. My favorite was one that was Christmas Around the World. And even though I think almost every page in it is colored, I still have that one. But I would keep all our coloring books. We actually have tins filled with crowns. And when my oldest brother when he turned 60, he's 72 now, I went through and I found as many different labels for Crayola crowns as I could find out of these tins. So there were crowns that were still from when he was a kid. So I lined them all up and had them framed and mounted, and I sent it to him for his 60th birthday, and he thought it was the coolest thing because you could, I found 5 different Crayola labels. They had changed the graphics just a little bit, and I found them going through all these tins. Now this one has some issues. Like there are some of the pages have that little bit of yellow where somebody just did that little bit, but the other problem with this one is that there's been some discoloring to the paper. Now, that's not your typical marks for foxing, because foxing isn't usually that big, but that's what it looks like, and it's kind of all through it, that little brown spot. But I just love the cover. Just such great cover. The Happiness Coloring Book. This is another one by, who's this one? This is another one by Whitman. A lot of these were by Whitman. It's another one from the 60s. Now, these are a little more smaller images. A lot of the modern coloring books are color activity, but I've also noticed that a lot of the modern coloring books don't have such detailed pictures. Look at the queen on that one. She looks pretty cool. You know, they just don't have as much stuff. Oh, look, there's a kangaroo. There you go. Do kittens go to kindergarten? So there's that one. And then Playtime Color. Now this one, come on, open up here. Now this is by the Lowe Company, Samuel Lowe. Now I don't think they're still around, but Lowe used to do kids' books and mostly coloring and activity books. And this one's from 1961. Now Lowe was in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Look at that doll carriage. Isn't that cool? The roos are after me, man. Get them kangaroos away from me. I want this doll bed. Look at that doll bed. Isn't that cool looking? I want that furniture. But look at the detail. I mean, there's so many little, the artwork is so much better. It's not all just like modern coloring books. A lot of them you don't grade up. Like they're always the very simple, like that one had really simple line drawings. But then you could get, they go to Kitty Garden. I love it. That's great, Melissa. But you could graduate up. You know, as you got better hand control, you could find, yeah, that one's not necessarily a creepy kangaroo. You could find coloring books that had more challenge because they had better illustrations that had more little fine stuff. You know, so, and this is that kind. Wow, Sally's talented. If she could blow a trumpet and be that young, Sally's got some lungs. Sally got some serious lungs. Now, that was the 60s. Now we get to the 1950s. The covers look different, don't they? Now, this is Merrill Company. Only 25 cents back then. Yeah, this is Switzerland. This one's cool because it's got, I'm trying not to open them too far because the old glue binding will snap on these. This is Trace It Color Pictures, 1956, from the Merrill Company in Chicago. Now, not every one of them has it, but most of them have it. They have the tracing paper. I like Scotland there. So these you would, I don't have any Barbie ones. I didn't find any Barbie. So these you would trace the image. So you basically got double the bang for your buck. You have Mexico. So they have something for so many countries. Yugoslavia. And I mean, look at the detail of the outfits. Are really cool. And what? We have India, we have Italy, Siam. Oh man, check her out. Look at that pose, that dancer pose. There's a bunch of mid-century modern lamps and stuff that have that pose. So, but they have most of them have the tracing page. So that's one from the 50s. This one's from the 1950s. The ABC coloring book. Now this one's a Whitman one. And see, now we're getting back to some more simplified, so yeah, I mean, like I said, I like to color. I find it very relaxing. But, this kind would be boring to me. This would be boring to me. The ones that have more detail. Now, this one's got some issues. You see that purple? That's old mimeograph ink. You're playing ring toss. What is she tossing? Oh, there it is. I was like, what is she tossing that ring at? There it is. I just didn't have the page open enough. I like how it says the new truck. Look how old style that new truck is. Yeah, I mean, I like the detailed ones. Dance a jig. Does your pig dance a jig? Does your pig dress like a ballerina? A Dutch girl, a robin's egg. And there's no problems in this one other than the cover has that purpley ink to it. And this one, I love this cover. Let's visit the zoo. Now I did find this one on eBay, but nobody's managed to sell it, probably because they were asking $14.95 for it. 1958, another Whitman one. Now it has a name in here. That's a teacher's name, Mrs. Vickroy. This one has. Oh look, Nate's in here. Oh look, possum. It's a possum. I know they make adult coloring books. I have a few. A flamingo and a heron. They really got some neat animals. Jesus. Really? They're after me tonight, man. They're showing up at everything. Buffalo. Oh, I like this one. Okay, wait a minute. Back up to that swan. So they have beautiful swans, right? And then they have the kid buying a hot dog. And then they have the swan stealing the hot dog. That's kind of cool. So some of these, like this one, is like there's a little kind of a story that connects things as they go through. But that's just really, really cool to have decor as just that cover. And this one, is this the one I think it is? 19. Yeah, this is the only one from the 40s. 1949. And the cover is completely different from everything you just saw. 1949. It's fun to count and color. It's got some issues there on the thing. But isn't that great looking? I've never seen a coloring book from the 40s before. So I'm treating it really gently. Now this has That first page, that's colored in. That was colored in with a name, Sandra Lee Wilmot, age 8, 1952. So I think that's the, and there's a couple others that are colored in, but it really, I mean, it's almost like a storybook. You know, there's a whole poem that goes along with the numbers. You know, there's all kinds of little sayings. So they colored in some of it, but I've never come across a coloring book from the 40s before. You know, so it's very different in style. I mean, it's more of an activity book, but still, I mean, it is such a great picture. That is a great picture. And then I found this one, and this is the last one. I saved this one for the end. And then there's like four Old Women's Day magazines, but I think you guys have seen two of the four. Now, does anybody recognize the name Saalfield? Saalfield. Most Saalfield stuff, they specialized in mostly making one type of paper product. And for those of us that came up through the 50s and 60s and 70s, Saalfield, probably, especially for us girls, for a lot of us, we had something made by Saalfield at some point, because Saalfield specialized in paper dolls. Saalfield paper dolls can be quite expensive. They did stuff for the old TV show Gidget. They did paper dolls for the Beverly Hillbillies. If there was a movie or TV tie-in, they did it. They made Barbie paper dolls. They made baby paper dolls. They made every friggin' thing imaginable. And that was Saalfield. So I knew the name. I didn't know they made a coloring book. Now, this is my kind of coloring book. But look at that cover. You would think this was new. You know, you would think this is something that you just, the colors are just fantastic. And it looks more like some of the newer ones. I could not find a date. It's Early America Coloring Book. And I could not find a date. Saalfield Publishing Company was Akron, Ohio. And, you know, these are more, what is my laptop doing? These are far more detailed drawings than everything else we've just looked at. My laptop just crashed. That's interesting. I can't see the chat that well. Hello, wake up. And they have, now I like this one because that's not really colonial so much as, oh, what's the illustration? Kate, this one looks almost like a Kate Greenaway illustration. And they're talking about the one-room schoolhouses. When she did special occasions, got colored paper. There we go. Yeah, my mom was born in 1929, and coloring books were not something. This one's got them at the old swimming hole. I think everybody's going to want this one. And judging from, you know, the age of the ones that I found and how this logo is printed, I would say, and the price, and I cracked up. Like the price says 29 cents, but it had been marked down to 23. So based on all that and the ages and prices of some of the stuff we've got, this one is probably from, at best, I'm thinking the early 60s. But that's just fantastic cover. And it's just, this is my kind of coloring book because it's got all that details to the different, the pictures just have so many details. And it's the only one. It's the only Sawfield one I've got. So yes, next Thursday, this is going to be an offer up. So you're going to see some coloring books come up in the next couple sales, but I'm not like, the stack is a foot high. So I'm not going to do them all in one sale. That would be just, we'd be there all night just selling coloring books. So yeah, they are all the coloring books and the cookbooks I'm hanging on to for live sales. But of the hardback books that you saw at the beginning, if there was a particular one you wanted, shoot me an email. Because I don't know that those mystery books are necessarily something that would do well in a live sale. Sharon C., I would be gobsmacked if I had anything that went up to $100. Maybe when I do the glass sale, because I can't find that particular glass. Want to see some neat eye candy? Let me show you this. So I can't find this. There's a lot of these violin-looking glass bottles on eBay, but a lot of them are made as vases. They're made to hang on the wall. They used to come with a little metal holder. I have some of those packed away. I got from my grandparents' house. But this was some kind of decanter. And it's way more detailed in the glasswork than the ones that would hang on the wall. Okay? Look at this. It has a base to it. The other ones just go flat down, and they don't have as much detailing. It still has the cork in it. It's gorgeous yellow glass. Don't ask me if it glows. I don't have a black light. I have no idea. The only thing wrong with it is on the bottom, there's a chip right there. That's a chunk. But the bottom says patent Nello Cori, Nello, and then Cori. I can't find it. I spent about 20 minutes bouncing around eBay. I looked on a couple other things, and I'm just not finding it. But isn't it gorgeous? So when I do for having hit 500, I'm trying to get together enough glass to have just a glass sale, because you guys all seem to really like your glass. And I'm going to offer this sucker up that night. A lot of the glass will probably be offer up. So it doesn't say where it's made. I have no idea. And the cork, I'm afraid to touch. You can see how the cork is just breaking apart. I'm afraid to touch the cork. There's still dirt and dust around the edge here because I'm afraid to touch the cork, because the cork is so old. But it just has on the bottom, patent, Patent, Nello, Nello, Cori, Cori. And I took my jeweler's loop and made sure I was reading that right. It is Cori, because I thought maybe it was core, Corp, short for corporation, but it's not. That's Cori. And I just, it's fabulous. And even the back. I mean, look at you've got all this scroll work on the back too. That's there. And that kind of detail is just not on the ones that, yeah, you have blue violins, but not like that. I think I've got a blue one and maybe a green one. Did I get the green one when we had to empty my grandparents' house? Not sure I got the green one, but I should have a blue one somewhere. But they're not like this. They're not as detailed as this. So yeah. Hey, I got a heater to get a new heater this year, so I'll be happy and let it go up. I also have a piece of Blanco glass, and when I did the haul video showing stuff that I got from the bins, there's a cranberry glass bell. So far, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So far, I only have 8 pieces of glass. That glass is yellow. It's if I had to call it amber, it'd be a light amber because it's more of the yellow look to it. So yeah, it's on Worth Point. Fostoria? No, I don't know glass that well. I just have these odd bits and pieces. I do have some red flash glass. The one says 1905 on the side of it. So I'm trying, but 8 pieces, don't make a sale. But I want them to be like really cool pieces. So I figure that since there seems to be quite a lot of people that really like glass, I thought I would try to find stuff and have just a glass sale to celebrate the fact that I had hit 500 subscribers, because I was so annoyed is because I had gotten about 6 subscribers all about one time, and it didn't send me notices for all of them. And I passed that. There were about 6 that, well, I got more than 6 that night. But at the time I got 6, because we watched the numbers just kind of went and then jumped to 504. But I didn't get any notices for any of those 6. So I don't know who my 500th person was. So I wasn't able to do something special for them. So I thought, what can I do? Gory. Yeah, I wondered. Gory, because it doesn't. Oh, I'm not surprised it's from Italy, because that's definitely a C on there. But the company is Nello Gori. Okay. Do I have any artwork? No, I don't. I own a little bit, but I'm not. I own some paint by numbers, but I'm not coughing them up because they were pieces from my grandmother. And they're packed away anyway, so. Oh, yeah, they have their subscriptions private, and that's when you can't see them. Yeah, so since so many people like glass at these sales, I thought that would be a nice way to celebrate, to give you guys something special. But for me, it's hard to source glass too, because I got lucky early on. My very first sale, we had some neat pieces of glass. We had that Northwood piece of glass. But I mean, they closed the better of the Goodwills, the bigger one. So I'm left with the really tiny one that usually is pretty crappy and the prices are ridiculously high. What is the name on that violin bottle? It says Nello Gori on the bottom, but Terry said that she found Nello Gori, Gori. So it could be too, is when they put a mold on a bottom of something for glass, it may have corrupted over time. So that little line for the G may have just not come across. Okay, you see it as Nello Gori as well. Yeah, I tried to search it, but I didn't, I didn't try super hard, but I was just checking eBay and I didn't find it. Looking for vintage wine decanters, ones that kind of look like figurines, especially from Italy. Only that one bottle. I don't have anything like that. So, oh, Farmville, go away. There, estates. I haven't found any estate sales near me. That's been annoying because estate sales would be a good place to find some glass. Because I need to find more glass. And I know it's not something my parents really had a lot of. They didn't have any. With 6 kids, yeah, you didn't have a lot of fancy stuff around here. Though I think there's a clear glass candy dish up in the kitchen hutch that I would be okay with putting into the sale. But I'm short. I have to get the step ladder out to get up into that hutch. They're 9-foot ceilings on the first floor. I can't get to the top of that kitchen hutch without a step ladder. Empoli glass. Ooh, yeah, Empoli has some pretty stuff. Yeah, estate sales are a good place to find old books. My local auction house, Briggs Auction, they have old books. They do online auctions and they have had old books. But the last thing I need is to buy more books. Between my own collection and then what I inherited. I mean, of the books I showed you, there was only one, that little Irish cookbook that was mine. Everything else was inherited, part of the inherited collection. Yeah, estate sales are good. That's how one of my early videos is about a bunch of salt cellars. And I had put a lot of them up on eBay because I didn't have live sales yet. But I went to they had advertised an estate sale on Facebook Marketplace and it was appointment only. And they had a massive amount of salt cellars. So I didn't touch the glass ones because I don't know glass that well enough to try that. But I snagged every pretty little figural one, every Japanese one, every maker's name that I recognized for porcelain. I spent like $74 at that sale. And it was just me and her. And she was so happy. She'd already had an antiques dealers in there and they took what they wanted, but they only took like the fancy name. But I definitely at least doubled the money that I spent. And I still have one or two things. It's over that way. I have a fly fishing kit from the 40s still in the original box. The feathers are that are inside of it would need to be replaced. But she gave me that for free because there was stuff on the porch that I didn't even get to look at. I ran out of money. I couldn't buy anymore. So yeah, there's salt cellars are good, but I only grabbed the porcelain ones. And that was from an estate sale. But I haven't really seen any postings or any notices of any since then. But it's not like it's like me going to Goodwill though. I mean, it's not like I need more stuff. But at the same time, sometimes you just got to get out of the house. This is the reason I don't film at the other end is because it is so claustrophobic. There's room for my chair here. There's a little bit of space behind me. At the other end, I don't even have a swivel chair at the other end. I have a folding chair because the first row of boxes is literally right here. It's at the back of the chair. There is no room at that other end. So there is a desk at that other end, because before my son bought a desk for in his own room, this was his desk. And then my desk was at the other end. And we used to shout back and forth to each other. So yeah, vintage and vinyl, your Goodwills are awful. Yeah. I'm not surprised that that is not a reproduction. Mr. Peanut Salt and Pepper Shaker. I remember them. I remember them. I wish that, I mean, we had such a massive salt and pepper shaker collection in 1984 to bag up, well, box up. I stopped counting at, I think I stopped counting at 300. Now, this is 300 pairs. This is just what I was packing up. Everybody in the family got their pick of salt and pepper shakers. Everybody. This was a collection that had started with my great-grandmother, was continued by the two great aunts. By the time you got to 1984, those salt and pepper shakers were everywhere. There were two china closets and a built-in china hutch in the dining room. They were all completely filled with salt and pepper shakers. There was another china closet that had the my great-grandmother's blue willow pattern china from Staffordshire, England. Well, around all that china was more salt and pepper shakers. There were Barrister bookcases in the living room that had more salt and pepper shakers in them. And then there were more that were stuck in boxes and in drawers and just everywhere. And most of them were from anywhere from the 1900 on up. So anytime I see salt and pepper shakers in some of the books that I have that are on price guides, old price guides and stuff, none of them are anywhere near as old as the stuff that I grew up seeing. And it's funny to watch some of these live sales, and I see them, Misty or Jeffrey, and they'll be somewhere and there'll be a whole shelf of salt and pepper shakers. And I'm sitting there watching it going, I remember that one, and I remember that one, and I remember that one. I wish I had all of them now. Man, we were selling them at yard sales for $5 a pair just to get rid of them because there were just a flood of them. And this was pre-eBay days, so. Oh, your great aunt had the same, yeah. And see, that's the one thing that I talk about in some of the earlier videos in my channel, is that when you inherit all this stuff, you can really feel overwhelmed. And what do I do with it all? And now there's outlets. There's way more outlets of what to do with the stuff. And, I've had quite a few people go, well, you could just call an auction house. Well, no, we've already done that. They took all the furniture. They took all the big stuff. This is what's left. This is all the minutia, all the little stuff. No auction house is going to want a box full of old coloring books. They don't see a value in it. So, this is all the minutia, so this is what I got. But you never know. You just don't know what I'm going to find. Oh, he's back. Hello, little prince. Have you forgiven me? You're not going to look at me. I'm forgiven enough because he's got a bed. When he went to the, he has a pillow in the little doorway of the back hallway here. And when he came back from the emergency hospital, because he's so underweight and he was so cold, they actually gave him a fleece blanket. So I put that over his pillow over here. So he's been sleeping on that. But when I go upstairs to bed, he'll go upstairs. He usually lays in Michael's room. He doesn't come in to lay on my bed anymore because, he's mad at me. I took him to the vet. Oh, Iris, yeah, I was not allowed to touch those salt and pepper shakers, but I was allowed to look. And so they would open up the china closet doors and then they'd tell me, Annie Floss would tell me where they came from, or which ones had belonged to her mother, which ones had belonged to her, which ones came from Annie Al. Now, most of them were Annie Floss and then their mother. But I learned that, a lot of the chalkware ones were giveaways at carnivals and on the boardwalk. I learned different, now it's still probably packed away in the upstairs bedroom, in the spare bedroom, but I think I still have chalkware, Little Orphan Annie and Sandy, and Dick Tracy and whoever his cop buddy was from the comic strip. So some of them were quite old, and I'm pretty sure I still have those too, but they are packed away and they are not where I can get to them. But I learned about all that old stuff because they tell me the stories behind most of them, where they came from. And she could tell you where she got a lot of them from, but you couldn't touch. No, you really weren't allowed to touch them. Yeah, I went someday I'll have Barrister bookcase again, because I have some books that I really prize, and I would love to have a bookcase that closes like that to help keep the dust off of them. Books and dust are not a good combination. You only spent the night. Now, see, I got to spend like whole weeks at my great aunt's house. I was born something that every female in the family for at least 4 generations that we know of. Well, 5 now, because my great niece had it too. But all the girls seem to be born with a problem with the valve on one valve on our heart. And most of them grow out of it and they're fine. I did not. So basically the flap of the valve is a little bit too small. So it's like having, it's like having a gasket that it doesn't make a tight seal. There's always this little hole. So when I explained it to my nephew when he was a little kid, he said, "Oh, so your heart backwashes?" It's like, well, yeah, I guess so. So anytime an illness came through the house, so anytime mumps, measles, chicken pox, any kind of the flu, bronchitis, any of that went through the house with 6 kids, I got kicked out. I got sent to either my grandparents or a granny. That didn't happen often. But usually to my 2 great aunts or to my great aunt and uncle, Aunt Harry and Uncle George. So I got to know the oldest. Annie Al and Annie Floss lived together, and they lived in my great grandparents' house. Annie Al was born in 1900. So I got to know the oldest of my great grandparents' 9 kids, and I grew up knowing 5 of the 9, which is how I know so much older stuff, because their house, didn't realize it at the time, but their house really was an amazing little time capsule. But I because of having that heart, I got sent there all the time. I didn't grow out of mine. My cousin did, my sister did, my nieces did. Apparently my great niece, it doesn't look like she did though, but they, times have changed. Things are fixable now that they weren't necessarily then. But it was cool growing up, knowing all that stuff and having a chance to play with it all. and see it all. Oh, yeah, making your own mayo, ketchup, mustard, and you want to know how? I might be able to help you with that. I'm going to write that down, Iris. I know I have a mayo and a ketchup recipe. I just have to figure out what book it's in. You wanted mayo? Because mayonnaise is raw egg and oil. But I don't know what kind of oil. I haven't done it in a very long time. Mayo, ketchup. I don't know about mustard. I'm assuming with mustard, you have to get the mustard seed and you probably have to pulverize it yourself. So yeah, I'll look and see if I can find that for you, Iris. But I know. And if I don't have it in one of the cookbooks, I know my brother has my great grandmother's cookbook. That cookbook drives me nuts because the measurements use a dash of this and a handful of that, and it's what? How much is a handful of flour? What is that? So it's really weird. But he's got our great grandmother's cookbook, and I'm pretty sure I'm sure they're in there as well. So I'll see if I can find them and send them to you. So I have to work tomorrow. Well, it's 2 a.m. I have to work tonight, but then I have off again until next Friday. So I should have time to look it up. So I don't think the ketchup's supposed to turn green. I don't think that's supposed to happen. Katie, I understand the feeling. My mother would make the only coleslaw I ever really liked, and I've no idea because she never measured anything. Just did it and just butter the size of an egg. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's in some of those old cookbooks. Yeah. But yeah, we her lasagna too. I would love to know how to make her lasagna, but I can't get that mix of the cheese right. Just can't quite get it. I don't know what mom did to it. Her potato salad was the same way. I don't know. She never would write it down. Drove us nuts. We all used to beg her to write it down and never would write it down. So none of us quite know how to get any of it the right way. But I think every family has that. Somebody makes something a certain way and so special, and like my kids like finally figured out. It's like, we have now Toll House Cookies has changed a little bit over the years. And we have a really old back of the bag, because the recipe's always on the back of the bag of chips. And we have an old one from when I was a kid. And so that's always been our go-to, but we'd always change it a little. And Mike could never figure out why mine tasted like grandma's, but Aunt Phyllis's doesn't taste like grandma's. Two things, and my mother only ever did two things different. She would measure out the flour and dump it in the sifter and sift the flour. And then she doubled the vanilla in the Toll House cookies. So when it calls for like 1 teaspoon, there'd be 2. And mom never always, there's a lot of things like with 6 kids that she would cut corners on, but for vanilla, she would always pay up for good high-end vanilla. And I still get really great vanilla. There's a place called Penzies, and it's Penzies Spices, and you can find them online, and they get you that pure vanilla. It'll have not just ground up pieces of the bean, it'll have the whole bean still inside. It's you get it, it comes in a bottle about that big, and it's a dark brown glass bottle because vanilla breaks down from the light. So you don't want it in something that's going to let the light through. And it is fantastic to have that really good vanilla. It does make a difference in your cooking. But that's the only change, is that she'd use really good vanilla, and I do too, and we double the amount of vanilla in the Toll House cookie, and we'd sift the flour, and it just makes them a little lighter and just tweaks the taste a little bit. By having that extra vanilla in, it really makes a contrast between the cookie, the dough of the cookie, and then the chocolate chips. So it's been cool. Oh, you know that store, Katie. You know Penzies? Some areas of the country, there are Penzies stores. I don't have any anywhere near me. I think the nearest one is Chicago. So I order through their catalog. Absolutely love it. They have such good quality. I mean, yeah, you're paying up for it, but I've really found it to be superior in a lot of ways. So, but everybody's fading out, and that's okay. I have 50 thumbs up. I've only got 28, and we've hit the 3-hour mark, so, which is about the max I can go, because then by then my throat starts going. And if you can get vanilla beans, yes, you can make your own vanilla. Now, Katie, what do you use as the liquid? Do you use vodka? I have heard of people doing that. So, but it's usually like an 80, if you get the really good vanilla, it's like 80% volume of alcohol and 20% beans. Yeah, you really, into vodka, yeah. But it does take a long time to soak. Basically, put it in a cabinet and forget it for about 6 months, right? Long as it's tightly sealed, it'd be good. But yeah, it's been 3 hours, and that's about the max, because then everybody starts fading, my voice starts going, and if I'm not careful, I'll run out of free StreamYard time. So I think it's 2 a.m. I think we'll call it a night. And I'll see you guys next Thursday. And my stomach's growling. I hope you guys can't hear that. Everything was such a mess when I got home. I just didn't even have time to eat my dinner. So next Thursday, I'll start putting all the cookbooks you saw tonight will be in next Thursday's sale. And I'll pick out maybe 5 or 6 of the activity books and coloring books, and we'll start putting them in. And I had them and they didn't sell. I had some of these in a sale before, and I think I'll lower the price and put them in the next sale. I have a couple of Women's Day magazines. I tried 2 of them from the 60s. Now this one's April 1965. And I think maybe I had the price too high. So I'll try putting these in again. And maybe somebody would want to go through Winston. Flavor that goes with fun. Back when they could advertise all that. So it's not super old. This one still has my mother has a ton of these things somewhere. Mrs. Lincoln's hat. So I was going they always put these neat short stories in, but I like the watercolor. This one has a series of watercolor um of floral work, and there's a couple of pages of these watercolor flower pictures. And I like this one. Somebody needs to make me these because I love Alice in Wonderland. Somebody needs to make me those. But the cool part of this one is got all these ad things that you could get. And I just thought they were a riot. Now, why did I? Oh, I know why I marked this. Because two of these things I had just seen on other people's lives. Somebody had this tiny little camera, and Misty has had those teeth things, the man and woman to hold your dentures. Misty had one or two of those on a sale in a video recently. So it cracked me up that I saw that tiny little camera, and I'm like, I just saw a tiny little camera on somebody's thing. Somebody had it either on a live sale or something. But I just thought it was cool. I want to find these. I just think these would be funny to have. These were cake decorations for your teen's birthday cake. I love it when they have those, because this is like 100 Christmas gifts. So this one's November in 1965. I would have been not quite a month. I would have only been a couple weeks old when that came out. The pattern, yes, there's I think the patterns are in here. I'll double check. Riverboat toy chest. There's all kinds of stuff in here. I'll double check and see. I think the patterns are in here for Alice and her friends, because I love Alice in Wonderland. I have the copy of Alice in Wonderland that my mother had, and I've read it so many times that I have it held together with a silk ribbon. It's just this little bitty thing about this big and about that thick, and then I have a later copy of Through the Looking Glass. And someday I'm going to take the time to set up my chessboard and read Through the Looking Glass, because there's a secret to that book. Because the author is Charles Lutwidge Dodgson. Now, he was a professor of mathematics at Cambridge, but at one of the big universities. And his mathematics puzzles, he had puzzles he was known for, whole books of them for mathematics. But he hid one puzzle in Through the Looking Glass. Through the Looking Glass is actually a chess game. Alice starts off as a pawn, but by the time she gets to the end of the story, there's a reason she becomes the third queen. You can actually play a chess game with the characters on a chessboard. The white knight is the knight, and depending on how the book says, the horse takes 2 steps forward and then he falls off to the right or the left, that's a chess move for a knight. The streams are the lines on the board one way, the hedges are the lines on a board another way, and if you play the whole thing through, you will have a pawn that will make it all the way across the board, and if a pawn gets to that last row on your opponent's side, it automatically becomes a queen. There's a whole book on it that talks about how they did it, but I was like, I didn't want to read that. I have that book, and I didn't want to read it all the way through, because I'd rather try to figure it out on my own by reading the book as I do it, which I think would be really much more fun for me. So, but yeah, I have a small collection of Alice in Wonderland stuff. Not a huge collection, but I've got some neat stuff. So On that fun note, I should get going, and you guys probably all need to go to sleep. And for those of you that I sent a few more invoices today. For those of you who are here now who've bought from me, I did finally get Pirate Ship figured out just before I left for work today. Apparently, I was trying to send it to a printer we no longer have because my son, when he gave me this laptop, it's hand me down from him. It still had the hardware and the software in it to try to talk to a printer we no longer have. That's why we couldn't get this sucker to work. So now I can get, and the bubble wrap has arrived. I had run out of bubble wrap. So I have a lot of breakables that I spent all of Wednesday packing. So some of you that were owed invoices, you're going to see them. And like I said, I work tomorrow night, but over the weekend, you're going to see them start rolling out. So I get caught up on the shipping and everything gets going. So have fun. Have a good night. Have a great weekend. I will see a lot of you next Thursday. Next Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern Time will be a live sale. And as usual, I will try to have 30 to 40 items. And some of them, there'll be all the cookbooks we saw tonight. And we'll start making a dent in this big pile of activity and coloring books. And I'll see what other treasures I can come up with. You never know what's going to be in my sales because even I don't know anymore what's in this house. But we will have some of the things too from the Goodwill bins. I washed the aprons. They're actually in the dryer still. So they'll be in. The one apron has sold and the baby blanket has sold. But the other two aprons will definitely be. Iris, it's only 11:17 for you. Yeah, Iris, I forget. Where are you at? You're way far. You're on the other side of the country, I believe. So good night, Melissa Lynn. Darling, you're falling asleep. Yeah. But I'll see you guys. And for anybody who's not subscribed, subscribe. If you haven't hit the thumbs up, please hit the thumbs up on your way out. I appreciate that. It does matter it does matter in the algorithm. So, oh, you're Nevada. I have not been to that state yet. I'd like to, though. So, good night, all, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Come on, end.